And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I'm obviously getting older because when I took this game, Master of Orion, the board game, and this one got beat up when it got shipped to me from Russia. But when I brought this out and I said, hey, Master of Orion, just like the computer game. And so many people were looking at me blankly. And I was like, what? Masters of Orion is one of the greatest computer games ever designed. It's essentially Civilization in space. It's actually not as good as Civilization, but Masters of Orion 3, woo, good game. Okay, but this here, the board game, is based on that computer game. You are building a civilization, but I would put other thoughts out of your head than that. This is a very clever card game in which you are doing card play and actions and building some sort of race, some sort of civilization. Let's take a look at how it plays, and then I'll tell you what I think. Now, before we start, I want to talk briefly about the components. The components for this game are not very good quality. They're okay. Their cards are thin, the boards are thin. But a couple caveats here. I did get the game. It's a used copy. They sent it to me early for review purposes, and I'm not sure if it's final production. There's a bit of a language barrier, so the components might get better. So that's kind of my opinion on components. The artwork I'm fine with and all that. So I'm really just talking here about gameplay. In this, each person's going to be playing an alien. Well, you can play as the humans, but they're kind of boring. Humans are, you can play everyone that's the same, but each alien will have a special ability. So the aliens, you're going to pick one of these aliens, and that's the special ability that you're going to have. You're going to start with some resources. So you'll put these cubes, and it shows you the starting resources. You have 3 different kinds of cubes. You have food at the top, you have ships, or your military power is the second one, and then the bottom one is your production. Over here on the side, you have your loyalty track. That's how loyal your people are to you. And then up above here, you can see there's a scoring track. I'm going to move that scoring track out of the round because that's pretty much it. The game is going to take place over 8 rounds, or if one player's loyalty goes down to 0 or less, or if one player has built a whole pile of cards, which will probably not happen. So at the beginning of each round, players are going to be having these cards, and these cards are going to be in front of them. At the beginning of each round, you're going to look at the cards in front of you, and you're going to get resources that are shown up in the upper right-hand corners. So here I get 3 production and 1 food, and I'll simply take that and move my cubes accordingly. You can't have more than 9 of any of the resources. Then you're going to see basically your exertion for that round. And you're going to look at the cube that's the farthest right and then to the bottom. So my farthest right cube is this one. This means this turn I'm going to get 4 actions. Sometimes if they're all down here, I only get 3 actions, but I get to draw a card, so that's good. And my loyalty goes up 1. Over here I get 5 action cubes, but my loyalty goes down 1. The more resources, the harder you're going to work, but the people will not like it so much. Players will then take turns, starting with whoever is going first that round, and they're going to spend actions to do various things. Your actions are listed right here. Let's go over them. Research is an easy one. You're going to draw 2 cards and add it to your hand. Exploitation on here, you're going to get rid of a card from your hand, discard it, to get the resources on that card. Now there are 4 colored cards in the game, the red, blue, yellow, and gray, and each of those can be exploited for something different. It's in the bottom corner, but after a while you'll know exactly what they do. This gives 3 food, 2 ships, 1 manufacturing, and this lets you draw 4 cards, and then you get to keep 3 of them, so you discard 1. So all of them are very handy. Players can also trade, and you can trade 3 food for 2 ships, for 1 manufacturing, and those things can all be, you can pick one and trade it for the other ones. You can also do propaganda. Now this one you can only do once per turn, that's why there's an action symbol there. You put your cube there and you can go up 3 on the loyalty track. And then you likely are going to, most of the time, build cards. It's going to be one of the main actions that you do. Cards have resources that they cost on the side of them. So this spy carrier, for example, costs 1 of each resource. This fighter garrison costs 2 ships and 2 manufacturing. Some cards cannot be used or activated. This is activated, but some cards can't be built either if your loyalty is below 6. So you got to be careful to keep your loyalty higher because some cards can't be built or used. Sometimes when you build a card, it's going to give you a bonus. This one gives you an action cube. Then if you have a working orange card, you get an additional action cube. Some cards give you an activation slot on them where you can activate them. This one here gives me 2 ships plus 1 manufacturing, then 1 point for each card in this system. Systems. When you're playing cards, you're going to put them in front of you in systems. Each player can have up to 4 systems in front of them, and the top card of each system is the active card. When you add another card to a system, that system, the other card is still going to give you resources each turn, but only the top card is going to give you any bonus if it has anything. So you have to determine which buildings are the best buildings to build. Some are going to give you actions that you can take on your turn. Others give you something maybe at the start of the round. If you have less ships than each opponent has, you're tied, get an additional cube. So players have got to figure out the right order to build these, and having out a whole pile of cards in front of you, having 5 in each system, can end the game. There's going to be advisors. You're going to use advisors. One more than a number of players are going to be in the middle of the table out of this pile of advisors. You can discard any 3 cards to take one of these advisors and put it in front of you. You can always switch your advisor. You can take a different advisor and bring one out. Each of these advisors has different actions or different abilities. Like this guy's an action card which lets you build the top card of the discard pile with a discount. This one gives you 2 of one of the resources. This has a reaction here. When you put a cube from your reserve in this advisor, and at the beginning of the round, this advisor is going to add this cube and you get an extra action. And so each of these, this one has a discount on certain types of cards. This guy, whenever you attack someone, you get extra benefits. So they're all going to have, and you're going to try to pick the one that helps you at any specific time. The last thing I'm going to mention is attacking. You can attack somebody else. To attack someone else, you have to have more ships than them. That's it. When you attack them, you put a cube on their sheet. You can only attack each person a certain number of times per round. So let's say you're playing a 4-player game, only once. If you're playing a 3-player game, you can attack each person only twice. When you attack someone, you must spend 2 ships. So you can see you're going to have to use ships to attack someone and have more than them. So you can't do it too many times anyway. You will get 2 victory points, and they will go down 1 loyalty. So the defender is not really getting hurt too badly. They're just going to be losing loyalty, which is bad. But it's not the end of the world, but you get 2 points, which can be a big deal. When the game ends, you're going to take the number of points that you've gotten over the course of the game. You're going to add your current, hopefully not negative, loyalty that you have to your final score. And you're also going to get points from different cards. This card here is worth 0 points, but this one here is worth 1 point. And some cards are going to be worth a lot of points depending on other things. For example, this one here gets 2 points for each blue card that's in the same system as this one. And I already mentioned that there's different types of special abilities that the aliens have. This one, for example, every time you exploit, you get an additional food. So no matter what you do when you exploit, you get an extra food. This guy here, if you have high exertion, he gets 4 action cubes, gets extra resources, but you don't go down in loyalty. And this person here, every time you research, you get an extra card. So they get 3 cards when they research. So that's how you play. I have to say, I really enjoyed this game. Now, this really doesn't have anything to do with my liking of the computer game, because if this, was a bad game, I would be even probably more furious, because I'm like, you take this game and you dishonor it, you get out of here now. But at the same time, I got to be honest, I don't know that I feel like, whoa, this is just like the computer game. It's not. But it's a card game that reminds me similarly of Race for the Galaxy. It doesn't necessarily have the depth and complexity of Race for the Galaxy, but at the same time, it doesn't have the barrier to entry that Race for the Galaxy has either. This is the fun game that's going to basically revolve around this deck of cards. And these cards, which you're going to be passing out and people are going to be using, you're trying to figure out the best way to build them and get your resources. Each player has a special power with their alien race, and honestly, I don't know why you would use the humans. Having a small power is a very little joy that this game gives you, and I like that. That little bit of, it's a cool thing. It's not game breaking. They're not extremely powerful powers. They're just minor things. Drawing 3 cards when you research, it's a minor thing, but it's nice to be differentiated like that. These cards are where you're going to get more differentiated. Like this one here, the Doom Star. Whenever I attack, I get an extra victory point. Well, maybe I should build that. And then maybe I should start attacking other people. But to attack other people, I'm going to need a lot of ships. Well, how do I get ships? Well, I better start getting cards that give me those resources of ships. And I think that that's a good thing. I like the idea that you're sitting there going, okay, how am I going to get resources? And you could run out of resources, but the exploit thing always lets you discard cards to fill up your resources. It's not a very efficient way. You're using action cubes to slowly use these cards, although the one that lets you draw 4 cards and keep 3 of them, that one's a pretty big deal, right? That one's a cool one. But usually those cards, you hate getting rid of those cards because they're pretty nifty cards. And there's a couple cards that give a whole lot of points, but they're expensive to build. And so you're sitting there going, okay, well, maybe I should save resources and then keep drawing cards to get one of those cards. Or maybe I should sit and hold it in my hand for a while. And I feel like the game offers a lot of actions. I really was kind of happy that the attacking action is really not that big of a deal. It's not something where you're like, oh man, stop attacking me. If I attack you, I'm going to hurt you a little bit. Your loyalty is going to go down. And don't think that that's not a big deal. At first we were like, our loyalty, who cares? And after a while you say, wait a minute, our loyalty is being added at the end of the game? My loyalty's down to 4. I can't afford that. I got to waste actions now, propaganda to get my loyalty up. So it's there, but it's still not a big deal. But attacking other people is a way to get points up. And if you skip attacking other people, you will suddenly say, well, look at all these points that I could be getting. Now, you could play a peaceful game and you could build these, or you could attack other people. But again, it's not a very vicious attack. So I think even people who might be prone to saying, I don't want to play a game where we're hurting other people, you're really not hurting them badly. You're mostly helping yourself. Now, there are some cards that you can hook up to maybe make it attack a little bit. Like when I attack you, you're going to go down 2 loyalty. But still, the game also encourages you to spread out your attacks. So I think that's a useful thing also. Now, I would like to see this game go farther. I'd like to see more cards. I'd like to see, a little bit more attitude. But at its core, I think this is a nice medium weight game. And I guess nice is kind of a mild term. I have to say I was really happy with this. This really hits my sweet spot of having cards and actions. The game plays smoothly. Action, 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 action. Sometimes I have a couple extra actions and do those at the end of my turn. But for the most part, it's pretty simple. Discard a card, get resources, grab some more cards, build this building. Now I have some extra special abilities, and you're slowly building your civilization out. So this is like streamlined Race for the Galaxy, essentially. And I thought it worked really well. If you like card play, don't worry if you like space or not, because the space theme is okay, it works, but it's not needed for the game. And it's just a card efficiency engine that I really honestly think is an excellent, excellent game. I was very happy with this one. So check it out. I think it's coming out around Essen time. That's Masters of Orion board game. Dice Tower Judgment into my collection.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.